This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, I'll be taking let me introduce myself. My name is Dr. Mahesh NM, Professor and Head Department of Pharmacy Practice. And I understand from the schedule that the students from D Pharmacy, B Pharmacy, Pharm D, M Pharmacy are in this session, orientation session, correct?
Yes,
So,
sir.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Yes, sir.
So some may be
Yes, sir.
wondering that, yes,
Yes, sir.
some may be wondering that how I am connected to this department. What is this? Something different is happening here. So I'll connect everyone to pharmacy practice department, and let me say what is this department and what we do and what services we provide to the healthcare professionals as well as to patients, how we are connected to other departments, and what we publish from the department, and how we provide the service through hospital, all those things, right? So pharmacy practice department basically provides the patient care services, basically provides the patient care services with respect to drug treatment. Okay, we all went to hospital, correct? And we all have received medicines once in our lifetime. You cannot say that I am healthy since I am born. So everybody has to go to hospital or the clinic. So who treats you there in the clinic or hospital? Who diagnose and prescribes the medicine? Anyone can reply? Anybody can reply? Who treats you?
Yes, sir. So, doctor.
Yes, doctor. Very nice. So doctors diagnose disease. Somebody please mute. The background voice is coming. Please mute. Yes, thank you. So doctors treats you all, and then you take the medicines from medical store or a druggist or pharmacist and consume it, and the health improves. So pharmacy practice services, when I say patient care with respect to drug therapy, that means doctor will diagnose and prescribes the medicine. Now the prescribed, after the prescription, our duty starts. So we are going to have the prescription in the hand and check whether all the medicines that are prescribed is good to take by the patient, whether they are safe to be taken by the patient. If not, then we are going to recommend to the doctor also, that saying that there is a problem in this selection or in the dosage which the doctor would have prescribed it. Then after his consent only, our the patient can take safe medicines. And of course medicines are dispensed by professional pharmacist. Now once the patient takes the medicines, he will get two types of benefits. Sorry, one, you will get benefit, and he will also get untoward effect. So benefit is that the patient health start improving, correct? So our disease start improving. Sometimes patient suffers from adverse consequences or untoward effects or unwanted effects, right? So at that time, what do we do? Now we have to recommend the patient to come to clinical pharmacist or the doctor, where he diagnose that whether adverse effect is because of the drug or because of the disease, and then treat. So that is how our cycle usually goes. So now we have understood what is pharmacy practice department. It is the department where it takes care of the patient with respect to drug treatment. Correct? I hope everyone is clear. Now,
Yes,
in
sir.
what way? Yeah, good. In what way we are connected to other department? Other department would have been given some few departments that have covered their part, like pharmaceutical chemistry, pharmaceutics, and pharmacognosy. Okay, then pharmacology. So these are the other basic departments what we have in our college. So I'll tell you in just the link from one department to another department. What is the drug basically? Can anybody tell? What is the drug basically? Is it a chemical? Is it a substance? It is what it is? Drug.
Mixture of chemical substance.
Mixture of
Chemical substance.
mixture of chemical substance, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Can you be louder, please?
Yes, sir.
Chemical
Mixture of
substance.
chemical substance.
Ha. So it is basically chemical. Basically a chemical. Sometimes two chemicals. Sometimes a single chemical. Sometimes combination to make the product as a one single entity of the chemical. But it is a chemical compound basically. Now, where do we get this chemical compound? Which is the specialization? Which department produces this? Which department produces this? Which department produces chemical? Which lab is? Sorry?
Pharmaceutical chemistry. Pharmaceutical
Yes,
chemistry.
yes, correct. Correct. So pharmaceutical chemistry department synthesizes or produces the chemical. So this is where the pharmaceutical chemistry department is required for us. Sometimes we take the drug from the natural or the herbal source. Herbal source. So even though you get the drug from the herbal source, basically it is a chemical. Basically it is a chemical. So whether you get the drug from the chemistry department or whether you get the product from the pharmacognosy department, it is a chemical. Now we know that drug is a chemical. Now chemical is the drug is going to be used in human beings, correct? Can we use the drug directly in human beings? Can
No,
anybody
sir.
say?
No,
No.
sir.
No, sir.
Now how
Our
do
body
we
will.
what do we do that?
We use transgenic animals.
Okay, correct.
You take clinical trials first.
Yeah, so we need to test the drug in the animals first, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Testing of
Yes,
drugs
sir.
in animal, testing of drug in animals is known as pharmacology. Okay, known as pharmacology. That is why we have a department known as pharmacology department. Okay. Now, after that, we are very clear that the drug will be used in human beings, correct?
Yes,
That
sir.
is
Sir.
Yeah, that is
Yes,
where
Yes, sir.
pharmacy practice. So you know now pharmacy practice how it is connected to other departments, correct? You have a link now from chemistry
Yes,
department,
sir.
pharmacology department, and pharmacy
yes,
practice department. Now one more department is there that that, that is known as pharmaceutics department. I would like to ask you, if there is a chemical, can you take the chemical directly?
No, sir.
No, you cannot take. How can you
No,
take?
sir.
We can't.
In in what form we can take?
Tablets.
Tablet.
Tablet.
Capsule.
In the form of tablets, sir.
Medicine.
It should be taken either in the form of tablet, capsule, injection, ointment, correct? So pharmaceutics department helps in the formulation or designing of the drug molecule so that it is palatable, or whether so it is easy to administer into the system, and that produces the effect. Okay, that department is known as pharmaceutics department. Okay, so that is how we have 5 departments which are interlinked and play a very important role from the stage of chemical synthesis till it is administered to human being. Okay, now let us move on. Since we have understood what is pharmacy practice department, how it is related to other departments, now let us move on what we are going to learn from this session. Very importantly, earlier also this department was there as a master of pharmacy in pharmacy practice, and since 1998 in India we had M-Pharm in pharmacy practice branch, and it started its services like a pharmacy practice. But in 2008, what happened? The course by name PharmD is introduced. A doctor of pharmacy was introduced. So in India, the PharmD regulations were framed on May 10th, 2008. The objective of this branch is to develop pharmacists to provide patient care as a member of healthcare team in the hospital. So that's what basically what we have understood. This branch provides patient care with respect to drug treatment, which usually happens in the hospital setting. Okay. Now in our college, this particular branch started in 2014. So the first batch has already come out, and so they are already outgoing batch in 2020. June, they were the outgoing students. Okay. Next, now in this orientation session, I'm going to give a orientation on what the pharmacy practice services, which is classified as clinical pharmacy services, community pharmacy services, newsletter from pharmacy practice department, its components and details, affiliated hospital, and relevance to D pharmacy, B pharmacy, and M pharmacy. Okay, I'm going to also orient you in what way you can be connected to this department. Now, let us start with the pharmacy practice services as a first. So pharmacy practice department is basically provides the services through clinical pharmacy services, known as clinical pharmacy services, which is given in hospital, setup. Now, what do we do? So it is a basically patient care that is provided in the hospital. So a Form D student or M.Pharm student, Master of Pharmacy student, is expected to, in pharmacy practice, is expected to take a ward round along with the doctor. Now, what is this ward round? The inpatients are available, which you know it. So doctors will come once in a day, maybe in the morning or in the afternoon, sometimes both the times. So doctors will come and go through the case sheet and understand whether the symptoms are reduced or worsened, whether the patient is taking the drugs properly or not, whether there is any drug related problems are there, when can the patient be ready to get discharged. So this is the things which doctor will be doing it along with other doctors and interns as well as clinical pharmacists also. So in a ward round, given a set, usually one doctor is there, one nurse is there, one pharmacist is there, and one junior doctor is there. Always they take a round. So what is the job of pharmacist? The pharmacist should be able to clarify the drug queries, a drug treatment which is given to patient, any problem associated with the drug, what can be done. Really need to be expert in the drug and providing the drug information while moving with the doctor. If it is not known also, then you have to say, I will go through the information and get back to the doctor. You should never give the false information. So that is the first activity the clinical pharmacist will participate, known as ward round participation. The next one is a review of drug therapy of inpatient. We have already understood that doctor will prescribe the medicine, correct? Now, after prescribing, you need to go through the chart of drugs and identify whether the dose of all the drugs is correct, whether the right dosage form has been prescribed. Doctor cannot prescribe tablet for a small infant, right? 1 month infant, or a child who is less than 2 years, because it cannot it doesn't know how to take the medicine. So there are drops that are available, syrup is available, so you want to check that. One is dosage, any drug interaction which is associated with drugs, especially when the drug number is more than 1. When 2 drugs are there prescribed, there may be a drug interaction. And the right drug, whether doctors prescribe the right drug for the right patient. So this is what basically they're going to check. One is the appropriate drug for the patient, drug related issues such as drug interactions, dosage problems, okay, that will be reviewed and assessed and informed to the doctor when there is a discrepancy, when there is a slight changes or major changes. Whatever the changes is there, you're supposed to inform to doctor, and then he will change the medicines which is prescribed based on the recommendation from your doctor, from your side, clinical pharmacist. So next section is that what is known as medication auditing. Here auditing means you're trying to check various parameters associated with the drug at different levels. Like for example, prescribing level, whether the doctor is written in capital letters, the medicine's name, whether medicine's name is understandable, whether the right medicines has been prescribed or not, whether the dosage is correct or not, whether the whether the details of the doctor is available or not. These things are checked at the level of prescriber. Next checking is at the level of administration. Who does the administration of the drug in the hospital mainly? Can anybody say? Usually, who does the administration of the drug? Who does the administration of the drug? Injection and all, who gives in the hospital? Nurse, yeah. So,
Nurse.
right medicine to right patient. You should not inject drug A to patient number B instead of patient number A. If drug A is prescribed for patient number A, so drug A should not be given to patient number B. So you should ensure whether the right drug is given to right patient, whether she is giving the right way, whether she is labeling the injection, whether she is documenting, writing down after the administration. All these things will be checked by the pharmacist. In the dispensing level, what he can do, he can check whether right medicines are getting dispensed or not. All medicines are stored in proper storage conditions or not, or whether the right medicines are getting, whether the expired medicines are, dispensed or not. These things he has to check. That is called as medication auditing. Next job is that recommend the safe medicines to physician. If you found there is a problem here during the review of drug therapy, medication auditing, you can always recommend the safe medicines to physician. But physician decision is final. Please remember, physician decision is final because he is the captain of healthcare team. If patient dies, court will sue physician first, next pharmacist, next nurse. Okay, that is why always the decision of the doctor is primary or first. So that is why we should always recommend to doctor. What is this pharmacovigilance services? It is like watching for the adverse effects or unwanted effects. Now you have seen here, doctor would have prescribed and you would have checked for the dosage and other things. After that, you have to ask the patient, are you suffering from any problem after you started taking the drug? If the patient says yes, then you have to immediately refer to the doctor and it should be diagnosed whether the adverse consequences is because of the drug or because of the clinical problem. Okay, so these are the services. I'll take you to the next slide. Anybody has any doubt in that? Are we all clear? Can I move on to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Next
Yes,
slide
sir.
is
Yes, sir.
drug information service. See, we know that in medical shop, so many medicines are there, correct? But in addition to that, new medicines always come into the market, at least 1 to 2 in a year. So who launches this medicines in the market? Who introduces the product on the market?
Pharmacist.
Who? Sorry?
Pharmacist.
Pharmacist will introduce. Who produces this new drug formulation?
What the
Pharmacist.
pharmacist in the research field.
Pharmacist, where it is produced at least?
In the research area.
Yeah, pharmaceutical lab. Yeah, pharmaceutical industry will introduce new drug and promote its product in the market, correct? So for promoting the product, do you think that they will give correct information?
Approximately, sir.
Approximately.
Just give a vague information that everybody will know.
Yes, somebody rightly said they give a vague information which is biased. They will hide all the adverse effects which is going to be produced. This is where the pharmacist comes to produce, to give the drug information to doctor, which is totally unbiased, having no doubt at all. Very clear information will be given to the doctor. That is the job of the pharmacist. That is known as drug information services. This can be given to doctor, then other fellow pharmacist, nurse, even to public also, if they request. Okay. So similarly, poison information service is also done whenever they come across the poison information. They give information about the treatment. That means what could be the drugs that may be recommended for poison treatment. Also, that is also part of drug information services sometimes. Next one is patient education and counseling. Now, see, pharmaceutical industries are very careful, very intelligent also. They will come and give medicines to doctor, and they say, you prescribe so many medicine, I will send you and your wife to Switzerland for 1 week package. Okay. So what the doctor will do, he will keep on prescribing the medicines. When they prescribing the medicines of their choice, where the margin of benefit is there, then patient unnecessarily suffers. So pharmacists should be able to give a right education to patient, so that if any adverse consequences happen, he can seek your help, and also report the problem to doctor. And you can counsel us. Education is something you give the information for the first time, for the first new fresh patient. But as he takes the medicines, you're going to monitor whether the medicines, whether he's taking rightly or not, whether which diet is avoiding, which diet is taking, whether he's taking appropriate to disease or not, whether he's doing lifestyle modifications such as quitting smoking, quitting alcohol. All these things you're going to educate. Next, you will have a clinical laboratory test and drug therapy relationship. See, as a clinical pharmacist, you're going to note down all the clinical laboratory. You know clinical laboratory test also. It doesn't mean that you refer the patient to the pathological lab where the commission comes, but physician does that. Our physician will have a commission with the pathology lab, and they'll say, "Oh, go to this pathology lab only. Don't go to any other one," because the communication, because of the commission or whatever the benefit they have. Okay. Now, what is the role of pharmacist in this laboratory test? Because we are not doctors, we cannot tell a patient to go to this particular clinic, pathology lab. Then what is that to be related? Now, this pathological data, which is required for us to see how it is getting changed because of the drug therapy. Suppose, let us assume that the enzyme level, liver enzyme level is increased in alcoholic patients. Once you start the treatment for alcoholic patient, what should be happening to the liver enzyme level which is increased? What should be happening? What do you think it should be happening?
Liver cirrhosis.
Sorry?
Liver cirrhosis.
Yes, it should come back. Correct? It should reverse it, or it should come back. So that is what the job of the pharmacist. So you're going to test, you're going to find out the relationship after the drug treatment, whether the pathological changes has taken place or not. If not, then you have to request the doctor to modify the dosage, so that higher dosage when we use it, then the reversal of the increased pathological changes will happen. This service also we are going to provide. Next one is pharmacoeconomics. Can anybody guess what is pharmacoeconomics? Guess.
The turnover done by
Marketing.
pharmaceutical companies.
Marketing.
The turnover that happens in pharmaceutical industries.
Sorry.
The turnover that happens to pharmaceutical industries, the profit.
Sir, it's the scientific discipline.
No, I don't want your scientific definitions. I wanted a simple term. What is economic? Simple.
Money making, so it's like a
Money.
profit.
Yes, money. Money. What is pharma?
Medicines.
Medicine.
Medicines.
Yes. It is the cost associated with the medicine. Correct. So in this case, you have a lot of role to play, because we know that one drug is manufactured by, or one drug can be manufactured by how many companies approximately? Do you
They'll
think
have
that
patent, no, sir.
yeah,
They'll have a patent.
they will have a patent, correct? My question to you is that one drug can be produced by only one company or more than one company?
No, sir.
One
It can be
company.
done by others also.
More than one.
But whoever
More
patents
than
it
one.
first is the one that can produce it.
Company, yes, more than one company. Your answer is perfect. Now, do you think that all those 4 companies will keep one same price?
No, sir. It depends
No,
on
No,
the
sir.
companies of making.
It depends
sir,
on the
it depends.
companies.
It depends. So somebody will keep high, somebody will keep low, somebody in between. So it is the role of pharmacist to identify the drug which is standard, safe, and having the cost less to be recommended to physician. Okay, to prescribe, or it will benefit the poor patients also, economically poor patients, right? Next one is clinical pharmacy research work. Research work, you know that you're going to identify the lacuna in the information available. Then you're going to design clinical pharmacy projects in the hospital setup and do the research work. And of course, I cannot explain research; it's a vast field. But basically, we are going to find out something new, or something which is already done, and you're going to prove that, oh, okay, whatever somebody has done is perfect, right? Next, in continuation of this, we provide, our students also give case presentation. It is the presentation on the patient case, completely the diagnosis, signs and symptoms, medication, patient history, what drugs are prescribed, whether they're correct or not, what drugs could have been prescribed, what is the patient education. All these things will be presented to the doctors as well as fellow pharmacists as well as to your teachers. That is known as case presentation. In addition, you're going to present new drugs. We have already understood that 1 or 2 drugs will be introduced into the pharmaceutical market, correct? So what happens is that in order to give a presentation, unbiased presentation, you can do the presentations in front of the doctors or nurses or any other fellow pharmacist who needs the correct information. You can do that. Next one is we have a journal club presentation. This is journal club presentation is like you're going to read one research article from a journal. Okay, journal means it is a book like which comprised of the research articles published by somebody else after doing the research. So all the research would have been published in a book known as journal. So you're going to take any one interesting article which is pertaining to your field, for example, pharmacy practice field, and you're going to present how they have done the study, research study. What is the strength of the study? What is the weakness of the study? What could be done based on this research? This is something you're going to understand through journal club presentation. And research paper presentation. Once we do research at the clinical pharmacy research, what we have already discussed, you're going to present the research paper in the conference and also in workshops. That is known as research paper presentations. And if you publish it in a journal known as research publications, so you can present and publish, but not the reverse. Please remember that. You can present the paper in the research paper in the conference After that, can go for publication, but not the reverse. Published work you cannot present it. Is it clear? This is totally about the clinical pharmacy services. Now we will be moving on to next area that known as community pharmacy services. Community pharmacy services. What is community? Anybody, please? What is community?
Group of people or society.
Yes, correct. Group of people who are living in a society. Very right. So totally this pharmacy practice service will be diverted towards the outpatients here who comes to pharmacy. See, you may be thinking that, oh, what is my role after Form D to be in the community pharmacy, and what is my role as a M-Pharm person in the community pharmacy? What is my role as a D pharmacy? So many barriers will be there that we will discuss. Usually, a diploma in pharmacy patient, the qualified professional is focused on the dispensing and minor education, very short education, and also over a period of experience he will gain the experience to talk more about the medicines getting distributed. But Form D and M-Pharm students are not like that. They need to know clearly what they are trying to give guidance to the community pharmacist as well as to patients, and complete control of the medicines in the community setup. That is how each one of us will differ with respect to our services. Now, basically what they do is that they assess the prescriptions. In outpatient setup, you get the prescription from the patients who are outpatients, who may come out from the hospital or who may come out from the clinic. So first of all, you do the prescription assessment. There also you will assess whether the right medicines are prescribed, any drug-drug interaction is there, or any dosage variation is there, or any duration variation is there. All these things will be checked, and immediately will be referring it to doctor before you dispense. Next one is dispensing of the monitoring of dispensing of right medicines. See here, the role of play of various qualified persons will come. Diploma in pharmacy person will dispense the medicine. Form D or M-Pharm graduates will monitor whether the right medicines are getting dispensed or not. This is where the higher qualified people will keep a watch on this. Next, again, one more service is that dispensing of expired medicine. Pharmacist himself will have a control who is qualified diploma in pharmacy to know whether it is expired or not to issue. All those things will be watchful. But again, Form D and M-Pharm students will have a complete monitoring of the expired medicines or nearly expiring medicines in the hospital setup. Hospital which is connected to the outpatient department where they have a complete role. But as far as community pharmacy setup which is in the present in the locality, D-Pharm or B-Pharm students, who from qualified professionals, and Form D who like to expand and give a good service at the community level can also have a control like this. And monitoring of medication storage conditions. We know that all medicines require different temperatures. So it is very important that pharmacists know this, and here a diploma in pharmacy professional will try to store and take care of dispense the medicine. But Form D and M-Pharm pharmacy practice will have to monitor exact temperatures of the medications and humidity conditions, and they need to document the data every day, and also take a focus on what would be the effect on the shelf life of the medicines. So that is the job of the highly qualified people. Now, next one is outpatient education and counseling. The way we have counseled in the clinical pharmacy for the inpatient, the same service will be applicable here. But remember that time is very less because outpatients cannot stay with you for a long period. But over a period of time, if you can develop the rapport with the outpatient, definitely they're going to listen to you. Okay, but service giving education counseling is very important for the outpatient rather than the inpatients, right? Next, are you clear about this? Can we move on to the next area of this community pharmacy?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Next area of community pharmacy. We have already understood providing drug information to doctor, nurse, and pharmacist, correct? But you see here, drug information to outpatients, public. Somebody likes to know the drug information. So you should be able to give. You cannot say that, no, he is not a pharmacy person. I will not give the drug information. You cannot. But you have, whenever you give the information, you have to give the information in layman terms. Layman terms, using layman terms in the simplest English, you can give the information because they don't understand the technical language. That is the thing. So next, you should be watchful of the adverse effects or adverse consequences patient may be suffering. See, outpatient, they come to your clinic, they come to your drug store and they take it. But whenever they're coming back for the next purchase of next set of medicines, you need to ask, are you having any problem? Because sometimes they may not able to recognize it. If you ask, then they will be able to tell you, yes, I have this problem. So pharmacovigilance services not only happens in the hospital, but it also happens in the community pharmacy setup. But if you see the medical stores, they are not doing it actually. Next, recommending the patient to specialist. Suppose some patient approaches medical shop. Sir, I have this problem. I don't know what to do. Please give me some medicine. At that time, do not start deciding and start giving the medicine of your own. Never do that. If you find that patient is in a distress condition, please refer the patient to specialist or the hospital to get a complete check and get the medicines. Then you can dispense it. Don't, for the money's sake, don't start giving some medicines which is known to you or where you are not very clear. And you can also do community pharmacy research, going from one house to house or camping and doing the research. You can do that, and you can do the research and go for research paper presentation as well as publication, like the way you have done in clinical pharmacy department. Other services, what you can do, you can organize workshop about safe medications, right? You can create an awareness to public about the diseases and their prevention in your own layman terms. You are not a master of all the diseases, but at least you are aware of it. Especially this job can be done by M.Pharm pharmacy practice and Pharm D students, where they know disease as well as the treatment. They can go and give education about the disease in layman term. What is the use of taking medicines on the improvement of the disease, how it is related to disease, how the drugs act to reduce the disease. All these things can be done by the higher qualified people, whereas community pharmacists will basically focus on creating a public awareness to public by distributing the pamphlet which are already made by specialists. And you can also organize the health camps for the outpatient, especially at the remote places where the facilities is not at all available, like villages near to forest, villages near to hill stations. They are very remote places, so you can go for the health camps and give the services there. And you can give a kind of small healthcare screening services like measuring body temperature, heartbeat, BP measurement, blood pressure measurement, and you can do blood sugar assessment, blood grouping assessment, clotting time. Small healthcare screening services also you can do it, and it will be useful for them. You can charge less, but at least the heavy charges which can be otherwise happening at the pathological store can be avoided. And you can also respond to minor elements. If, for example, somebody comes, sir, I have a headache, I have a diarrhea, you can take a decision to give the medicine, which this can be done by a practiced diploma in pharmacy patient, qualified professional after so many years of experience. And PharmD and MPharm pharmacy practice can readily go for it, because they are taught different diseases and how to treat that and all those things. But treating minor ailments can be a good service by the higher PharmD as well as from the MPharm and pharmacy practice people. And diploma in pharmacy qualified professional also can do this job, but then he or she needs some experience. Definitely they can do wonderful job, being in community pharmacy. Now, other professional services apart from this is that we can support hospital clinical and hospital pharmacy services in other hospital, and we promote teamwork among the healthcare professionals, because we should know how to work in team. We say that we are working with the doctor, but if you don't like the doctor, if you start hating the doctor, you can never do teamwork. If you don't like a nurse or like too much of nurse, both are dangerous. So we here promote the teamwork, how to work with the doctor, how to communicate with the doctor, how to communicate with the nurse, how to communicate with the fellow pharmacist, and also how to communicate with the ward boys. Everybody is very important here, and that's why we promote the teamwork here. And we do depute interns from the PharmD to specialized hospital for learning expert skills for 3 months as per the during their internship period. So this is about the services from the community as well as the clinical pharmacy services, and in addition other services also. And now I will take you to the second segment of this presentation, is newsletter of the department. See, we publish newsletter from our department. Its name is known as Pharma Insight Newsletter. Pharma Insight Newsletter. It will be about 8 pages to 10 pages newsletter. We do circulate it 3 times in a year, and this will be read by government officials, private officials, regulators, university people, members, faculty members, and pharmacy students, right? So this is what their target is, and of course students from the same college and also from the different colleges. So till now we have come out with the 2 issues, right? I will show you in what way we cover the information in this newsletter. What is the role of pharmacist, clinical pharmacist? What is the role of doctor? What is the role of your students? You also, your contribution, and what information we are going to cover it up with the specimen examples. So this is the newsletter components, what we have. Now you see here Pharma Insight newsletter. Here you can see the heading, the 2 letters have 2 information have come. This is completely a kind of groundbreaking work or extraordinary services done by our university, and also by the faculty of the KLE from Bangalore branch, right? Only we cover this university as well as KLE branch outstanding contribution to the pharmacy field during the 4 months of period. This is the contribution, and this is of course our college building, picture, and this is a hospital one, and this is an editorial board, and we have this college address and all those things. We have second page dedicated to department services. How many publication we make is going to be presented, is going to be circulated. What adverse reaction our interns are identifying in the hospital, that will be published, for what drug, and what type of adverse reaction. Case presentation, how many they are doing it. Journal club presentation, how many they are doing it. This will be published as a department service here. There we involve interns and other fifth year PharmD students. Now we also include pharmacy practice survey in India. Now we cover here Pharmacy Council of India circulars and notifications, and Central Drug Organization, Standard Organization notification, where they publish the recent label changes, rules and regulations, or any updates regarding the drug, which is published from during the period, 4 months period, that will be presented here in a just manner, so that we know what is happening at the council levels, which are the regulatory bodies. Now we also publish what is latest in India, that is pharmacy practice services in India. So we have introduced, like for example, this will be written by one of your classmate, one of your senior, Alluru Sri Shailika from 4th Form D. We give due credit to them also. So they have written the article, Robotics in India, a kind of innovation, and did their service in the pharmacy practice. And we do publish the list of drugs that are approved in India during 4 months time, right? You can see a new drugs are new formulation approved in India. So, and also we give the dates and everything, and this will be compiled by the 5th year PharmD student, and we give the credit to the student also. And there will be article from again from the student side, that will be given, and also from the clinical pharmacist newsletter, and the article will be covered, right? And also any student who is interested in the article pharmacy practice also. See here, we also publish WHO and FDA news, where we publish or announce the new drugs approved by FDA during this 4 months time, including the date of approval. And made new medical devices approved by FDA, we are going to publish it. See, all these things are contributed by your seniors, 3rd year PharmD and 4th, 5th year PharmD, like this. And there's one article we dedicated for the clinical pharmacist article, which will be written by clinical pharmacists working in the college or some other hospital. And we do get articles, invited articles from the doctors who are from the various hospital. She is Dr. Bindumati from Astus CMI Hebbal Hospital has written the article for us. And we do get the alumni or interns experience. Now outgoing batch is already working in the setup. What was their experience, and how did they get into the opportunities, and what must be done by junior students in order to grab the opportunity. So they will write the article, and you can see here, since it was Anina's she was a PharmD intern who has written shared her experience. And again, one more article, very recent article implemented by written by the PharmD intern also. Here one more article, and we do the NSS activities, and as a part of NSS activity, we share that information also, because it is also part of community area. So they do some kind of community area which is relevant to pharmacy, as well as on their own also, which they identify as distinct in the service of the human being. So we do publish that also. See, these are all the various NSS activities, and what is that NSS activity which they have done it, and we publish that also. And now you can see here the chart comprised of how many activities that are done by various departments of our college during this particular period. So you get a statistics, what is going on in different departments. And there will be a faculty, one more article by the HODs or the editorial team members. They will be writing the articles of their own interest, which is usually groundbreaking or totally new in the area, which can be an eye opener for the pharmacy profession, right? So that's about this article, and we can see here some of the previous archive of articles. This was the first one article started by our principal, then vice chancellor activities which VSVT has donated 3 crores to open the COVID-19 center at the KLE College of Pharmacy, Belgaum, in one of the hospital and their affiliated hospital, Prabhakar Kore Hospital. So that's how we cover it. This is about the second area. The third area which I want to focus is affiliated hospital. See, recently we have joined affiliated hospital known as Aster CMI, located in Hebbal area, where it is a 350 bed hospital, multi-speciality hospital, and our intern started going there since October 5th. Yeah, so other students also will go as they climb the ladder there in your course. And now the fourth one I would like to say, that is the how D pharmacy, B pharmacy, M pharmacy are linked to our department, our pharmacy practice department. So D pharmacy, see, you are the part of community pharmacy services and you are the integral part of it. So you can always be in touch with the pharmacy practice department to get the guidance to improve your business if you have opened in a locality, if that is your target. After a D farm, if you want to open, it is better and always wise to get connected with the pharmacy practice department in the college and start contributing to the excellent manner extent to the public. Otherwise, if you are interested to pursue your education after diploma in pharmacy, you can get into doctor of pharmacy course, where it will you have to travel for 6 years. It is an integrated PG course, remember that, and you can do PhD directly after Form D. So that is the benefit for the D farm. So that is how the D farm is connected to pharmacy practice department. The next possibility is that next branch is that B pharmacy. Now B pharmacy, since you have joined, you have the option also to do what do you say, Form D course. After your B pharmacy course, in B pharmacy, the syllabus is oriented towards the industry, but of course the syllabus is designed in such a way that you will get an overall idea. But if you want to become a master or to do services in pharmacy practice area, after B Farm, we have another branch, connected branch known as Form D Post Baccalaureate course. We have Post Baccalaureate. It is also a Form D course, but this course is for 3 years for those who are coming, who are joining this course after B Farm. So 4 years of B Farm plus 3 years of post baccalaureate course will make you a PG candidate. Okay, PG candidate, and from there you can go to PhD and do the things. Now once you become post baccalaureate, your panorama of services will open. I hope in career guidance it has been discussed. Now it will open, and also you can start serving the community as well as teaching job and all those things. M Farm, how M Farm are connected to our department. Now I understand that here M Pharmacy pharmacology branch is attached. So pharmacy pharmaceutics branch as well as pharmacochemistry branch, I always strongly suggest that you play important role in your area, because you have got a lot of opportunity to develop there and contribute. But pharmaceutics people will have connection with the pharmacy practice department with respect to designing the dosage forms and then their relationship to pharmacy practice services and their bioavailability and all those things. So they can play a role integrated with the pharmacy practice, because once the formulation is made, how how best the drug is bioavailable to the system is the responsibility of the pharmaceutics. So if you know the pharmaceutics branch, you will be able to do contribution in the research, especially in your area. Pharmacology people will have a thorough knowledge about the pharmacological actions of all the drugs, and now once they get into the pharmacy practice area, where in some of the colleges they are preferred, if the pharmacy practice people are not available, or otherwise also to partly they are preferred, where you can divert your knowledge towards the therapeutic side. Pharmacology, pharmacy practice, not a much difference, but the way you turn your information towards the therapeutic, the human beings use, that makes you a kind of different but strong person, professional, to contribute in both the areas. In pharmacology, we study the pharmacological actions of many pharmacological actions of one particular drug. But in pharmacy practice, what you do, you study many drugs to recommend one best drug, keeping the pharmacological actions in the mind. That is the difference between the pharmacy practice as well as pharmacology person, and how the pharmacology professional can become pharmacy practice professionals. And also you have a lot of role to play in the clinical research area. Pharmacology people are also preferred in clinical research area. In addition to PharmD people, basically they know the pharmacological actions and oriented to clinical research areas. And PharmD students will have thorough knowledge of all the diseases, including the M.Pharm pharmacy practice people, and they become the again competitor for you in the clinical research. Okay, so this is how the D pharmacy, B pharmacy, and M pharmacy are connected. And of course, PharmD have no choice but to travel with us. But PharmD, let me tell you in brief, your course is designed in such a way that it is 6 years course. First year is dedicated to make you understand basic pharmaceutical sciences, and from second year to fifth year, it is hospital oriented subjects plus pharmaceutical sciences subjects. You will have a blend of subjects to study. In internship, completely oriented to hospital services, you will have a knowledge and skills to be developed. For PharmD students, you need to develop writing skill, speaking skill, as well as communication attitudes. This is very important. The better you start from the day one you join the course, then you will be able to do best. Otherwise, working in a team among doctors and nurses will be a kind of threatening job for you. Okay, I'm telling you honestly, what is the expectation from the PharmD graduates from the day one you join the course. After, otherwise what happens is that you will have a comment to blame the system but not to excel anything. So that is why I'm telling you very openly, very honestly, sincerely, that from day one start focusing on these areas, communication and attitude building, to make yourself excelled in PharmD branch, right? So now the session is open. If you have any clarification, you can you're open to ask.
Sir, why would the PharmD students feel threatened by the nurses and doctors?
Sorry?
So why would the PharmD graduates feel threatened by the doctor and the nurses?
They are threatened only because their initial communication is not good. I can tell you that they don't know the convincing part of the service, because the problem is that in India, all the PharmD graduates are promoted with the designation doctor, right? You might have known that. You are a M.Pharm graduate?
No, sir, I'm PharmD. I've joined this.
PharmD graduate. Okay, good. Yeah, have you heard you're going to get a prefix of doctor?
Yes, sir. I do.
So the problem is that many people are attached to the designation doctor, prefix doctor, and they start behaving like a doctor, which we should not. You understood? Now what happens is that, and there is a myth also. There's a myth for this problem. Let me tell you what is the myth. PharmD students are sometimes misguided by some of the people that they can prescribe the medicine, which is not true.
Why not,
Doctors,
sir? We'll be
sorry,
studying for 6 years only about medicines, no? We'll have an edge over medical doctors who study pharmacology only for 1 year, while we do the same thing for 6 years. So won't we have an edge in just the prescribing medicines category, not the diagnosing?
okay. Now let me tell you why we cannot do that job, right? Now, doctor, you say that they study pharmacology for 1 year,
Yes, sir.
and you say that you study for 4 years,
Yes,
3 years basically. Now, the depth of knowledge on the anatomy and physiology part, which doctors have, and as well as pathophysiology and disease progression with the diagnosis and clinical progression, is much higher than the pharmacy people. Do you agree with that?
No, sir. I'm sorry, but I quite didn't get you the last time.
Doctors are strong in anatomy,
Okay.
physiology,
Yes, sir.
pathophysiology, and diagnosis of the disease, including the learning of symptoms, signs of symptoms, and other things. Are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Do you agree with that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Let me put you on the other side. Somebody please mute. Somebody please mute. Let me put you on the other side. Now, if you take your anatomy knowledge and physiology knowledge, are you strong?
No,
Like
sir,
doctor? No. Are you strong in pathophysiology from the clinical aspect?
No.
Are you strong with respect to understanding the clinical signs and symptoms and disease progression?
No, sir, not yet.
No. But you are very strong in drug, correct?
Yeah.
Because you study therapeutics for 3 years. Now, giving the drug,
Yes, sir.
like recommending the drug to a doctor, will always help him to see the changes, pathological changes in the body, which he is exposed more. The moment the drug is given, the physiological parameters which they change, they will have a better control when compared to pharmacist. Pharmacist knowledge is always theoretical. Let me tell you, they're always theoretical. You understand clinical signs and symptoms, everything diagnosis through theoretical knowledge. Only you will be able to give the service with respect to medicine assessment. So that is why, in order to understand the pathological changes or clinical changes which the body will be undergoing after the treatment, only doctor can able to understand better. And also, nobody says that you should not prescribe the medicine, but the thing is that you can prescribe the medicine where in the American countries they have a system where they can prescribe the medicine whose therapeutic range, whose therapeutic safety range. What we call it a therapeutic safety range means even if you give a higher drug also, the patient is not going to die. That we call it as a wide therapeutic range, safety range. Those drugs only you can prescribe. Even in America also is there, even in India also you can prescribe only that, but provided you need a training, thorough training. Okay. That is where the pharmacists are misguided there. You can prescribe only when you are trained to prescribe, especially the drugs which are having a wide therapeutic safety range, not the narrow therapeutic safety range, which majority of the drugs into come into picture. This is one problem. The second problem is that we say that what you know for the doctor, but remember that in and out of even the death of the patient, the doctor is sued first when compared to pharmacist. If you take a onus, you will be sued first for the death of the patient than doctor. Are you willing to take that responsibility? We cannot. Correct? We cannot take the responsibility that tomorrow you're going to sue me because I have administered the drug. Are you going to take the responsibility?
No.
It is not. It is not possible to take the responsibility because we don't know in and out. Pathological changes which happens in the patient, we don't know. This is the second one. The third one is that whenever the PharmD students or PharmD graduates enter into the doctor's territory, they say that you have to change the way I'm telling. They compel. Do you know why we should not compel them to change? Because drug body changes or body signs and symptoms changes, okay, clinically, which if it exceeds 25% of the clinical changes, then only doctor will be able to change the medicine. Otherwise, they won't. Okay, these are the reasons why we are not very strong, but after working with the doctor, we will become strong and they start liking it, and you can do the wonderful job. Yeah, I hope I answered your thing. It's good that you have opened up the topic. At least it is an eye opener for many people. Okay, next, any other questions?
So can't a PharmD student run a clinic or something after some experience?
No, there was a proposal for some time. Now the PharmD, I mean, it has been discouraged by the Pharmacy Council of India. Now you cannot open any shop like that because of this problem. If a patient is a patient safety is a problem, because that's what I told you. No, if patient dies after you are prescribing, will you be able to take the responsibility?
Yes, sir. Okay, understood.
So that is the problem. Yeah.
Okay.
Next one. Okay. If there is no doubt or any
just 1 second.
I
Sir,
hope. Yeah.
So B Farm and D Farm students have the permission to open a pharmaceutical shops, sir.
You can open. There is nobody says that you should not open. D pharmacy and B pharmacy is well known. B pharmacy also can open the medical shop. Nobody say no, but the way you start providing the service, you have to improve, because your B Pharm syllabus nowadays it is oriented towards industry side. So you need that pharmacy practice orientation. That's it. Otherwise, you can open with the training. No problem.
Yes, sir, but the owner of pharmaceutical shops only sell the drugs with accordance to the prescription given by the doctor. Well, if that's the case, then what's the wrong in PharmD graduate opening a pharmaceutical shop? Because he'll be doing the same job thing, no?
You mean you're asking about the pharmacy clinic?
Medical
pharmacy
shop,
clinic,
sir.
Huh?
Medical shop.
Can you repeat it? Yeah, I could not able to understand.
No, sir. If B Farm and D Farm students can open up a medical shop,
okay,
why can't PharmD people do the same? Because we will just be giving the medicines with accordance to the prescription given by the medical doctor.
Yes, correct. No problem. You can open, no problem. Who says that? No, you can open. D Farm also can open, B Farm also can open, and PharmD also can open.
Then what did you say that PharmD cannot open?
I did not say. Pharmacy clinic.
Clinic.
I hope you have got
confused.
pharmacy clinic. That is different one.
Okay, got it. Sorry, sir. I got confused.
Pharmacy clinic is, don't get confused with the PharmD.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, then thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.